All right, so try and do this video blog on tax rates, and it's like the third time I've filmed this because I'm absolutely rubbish at reading out data from a simple table. So, I mean, if you found this, there's a link to the income tax rate bands. I'm not going to say them out again because I keep on getting my numbers jumbled up, and I don't want to do a Diane Abbott or a Natalie Bennett and be torn apart because I can't regurgitate figures correctly as a politician, which is key skill. I'm rubbish at doing a PowerPoint. But anyway, the real problem is the additional rate is 45% for anybody earning over 125k. That's nonsense. Most people here work in big organizations, or at least will know somebody who works in a big organization where if you look at the top paying jobs in the UK, you've got salaries of 200, 300k, and those exist in all of those large organizations. You'll have people on those silly six-figure salaries, not the low end of six figures. We're getting up towards the high end. In fact, down here in Bournemouth, you've got companies like JP Morgan, Barclays down here. You've got people there on essentially seven-figure salaries. That's crazy. The idea that somebody can be earning four times as much as somebody else, but still be paying the same rate of tax. That's yeah, makes no sense. Somebody on 300k should be paying a much higher rate of tax than somebody on 150k. It's oh, just basic fairness. And so, like I said, this isn't absolutely left wing or a right wing fix. It's just going, I'll tell you what, we should shift the tax burden away from those least able to pay and onto those most able to pay. Maybe you just bring up that personal allowance, as high as you can without, seeing the effect of something like the Laffer curve come in by shifting the tax burden onto the very wealthiest. You do that in a totally income neutral way, however you want to do it. But the income tax brackets need fixing. Now, I've mentioned the Laffer curve. This is something that's often brought up whenever you talk about having an income tax rate of something like it used to be when we were younger, of 80%, 60% or whatever, that the sky will fall down and everybody will leave and stop paying tax because, oh, actually, all these people suddenly they'll go and work in, I don't know, Germany or whatever, learn another language. I mean, it's just a nonsense. I mean, one, it doesn't bear economic scrutiny. If you want to get lost in the weeds, I found a nice paper you can have a look at calculating the Laffer curve and all of that. It totally ignores behavior economics and other factors. I think economics is really lagged behind the research in terms of bringing in stuff from people like Thaler, and who's a thinking slow and thinking fast guy. I forget. But the behavior economists who explained, oh, actually, people aren't particularly rational when it comes to economic choices, and certainly not about where they live and how they earn their money and whatnot. And actually, looking again at all of those job titles, those top 10 job titles in the UK earning ones, none of those are proper jobs. Every one of those people will actually be, rather than doing any genuine work themselves, they'll have team working under them who do the actual work, who do the actual figuring out and making the hard decisions and saying this is what we should do. All they do is act as corporate soothsayers who almost mystically read the sacred signs of corporate jargon, and package it up in a way to be presented to investors and shareholders that they find palatable. That's their skill. It is talking the jargon, walking the walk, that having a face that fits in to those six and seven figure paying job slots. That's it. They produce no actual value for the organizations they're in. That's my experience. Maybe yours is different, but every large organization I've worked in, nobody on six figures goes near any actual work. And then actually you talk about, well, what if we lose all these people? What if we lose all these high earning people? What if they do leave? What effect will that have? Well, a positive one. The warping effect their spending has, their consumption has on our local economies is drastic. It would mean people could afford to buy houses again. These people will disappear, no longer building crazy luxury mansions. Make it so these people no longer invest it. Oh, good. I don't want people investing in buy-to-rent properties. I want properties to be built as just homes. Nobody wants to rent their home. It's not your home if you rent it. If somebody can sling you out, as we so often see in the private rental sector, it's not your home. You don't feel safe there. You need somewhere where actually, when you lock the door at night, nobody else has got a set of keys and can come in and turf you out. Oh, hey, so tax brands, it's a dead simple fix. This isn't complicated. It isn't rocket science. And I'm not going to, obviously, while I can't sit here with, do some back of the envelope calculations on data that's in the public sphere and cast down, oh, this is what the tax bands should be like stone tablets of wisdom. It's just clear they should be different. It's clear that the highest tax rate should be greatly more than 45%. You can see that looking around the world and back through history. And it's clear that our tax band should take into account there are people on seven-figure salaries. God, imagine if we sorted out income tax and then we just looked at a lot of taxes that are just a nonsense, like VAT, not particularly useful, national insurance, all of that, and just, I tell you what, we'll just have income tax and a wealth tax. Bish bash bosh, sorted. Oh, a lot of this is simple, and the political will just doesn't exist because of all the things I went into in the last video. I'm not going to rehash myself again, and I've already gone over 5 minutes, which I didn't intend to do, so I'm going to call it quits there. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely weekend.